if they stay like one day without caffeine, they would have like a headache. But if
Yeah,
they-
caffeine actually expands the capillaries and lets blood flow faster, which is not always a good idea, but they put it in Excedrin extra strength pain reliever. So it's got to be there for a reason. They want that aspirin to get into your body faster or more effectively. Caffeine is not always a good thing for people because it makes them jittery. You know, everybody has a different reaction to it. But again, if you learn kinesiology and how to test your own body on whether you should put anything in it, and if you do put something in it, how much, then you're home free. You can always ask your own questions, get your own answers. Literally asking your subconscious mind, which runs your whole life. It also runs the muscle reactions and all that kind of stuff. So you're asking your body, the part of your body that runs your body, is this good for me or not? You know, and if so, how much? Like even supplements, vitamins, minerals, whatever. You can ask your body, what is the proper dosage for me to take? Is it the same as what's on the label, or is it less, or is it more? You know, so if you want optimum results from it, your body will tell you if you ask it. Most people ignore it, and they don't know themselves well enough to ever get answers on something like that. And really, in the long run, that is the best cure of all, is to know yourself well enough to know what to do. That gives you a lifetime of cures on all sorts of things. The kinesiology, you can actually test anything that goes in your body or on your body. And believe it or not, there's one thing that kids get caught up in a lot, is wearing synthetics instead of natural fibers. Body doesn't really like synthetic materials. Mm-hmm. It really likes natural stuff a lot better because the energy is more compatible. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people will poo-poo that kind of thing, but they've done tests on kids that were acting up in school, put them back in cotton and that kind of stuff for clothes, problems disappeared. Because they're not fighting that energy interaction. And, you know, they probably don't even know that's what it is causing it, but, you know, can't hurt to try. You know, like I said, not everybody's going to react the same to any given remedy, but if you try them, find the one that works and stick with it. Because it might change to something else later on. Depends on what your body needs. But if you learn how to ask it, it doesn't matter what you need at any given time. It'll know. Arnica montana is a really good mountain herb. It's a topical analgesic. It's good for, it's actually, quote, designed, unquote, for muscle strain, joint pain. It will take care of bruises in a matter of days, and I mean big bruises. Arnica, A-R-N-I-C-A, in Montana, like the state. There's several brands of it on the market. The one that's in a witch hazel base is very, there's not much scent to it, but it soaks in really rapidly and it's not greasy. The white ones, the creams, tend to be a little more on the greasy side, so you can get whichever one you want. There's a company called Highlands, it's Hyland apostrophe S. They have a alcohol water spray, and the alcohol absorbs in the body a lot faster, so it can actually work within a matter of seconds. I gave some to a tuba player who had arthritis in his knees so bad he couldn't walk a lot of time. And before he sprayed it on both knees, and before he could put the cap back on, he goes, "Where did you get this, and can I have it?" I said, "Why?" He goes, "That's the first time I've been out of pain in 10 years. And it was that simple. He couldn't believe it could be that simple. Because they gave him arthritis medication, it didn't do him any good. You know, just because people are doctors doesn't mean they know what they're doing, especially when drugs are concerned. Mm-hmm. So again, if you learn to test your body and ask it, what do you want? You know, is this good for me? Is this one blah, blah, blah? You can test a whole bunch of products and find out which one will actually work the best for you. And the funny thing is, by the time you find the one that is the right one, you try to make it be something else and test it again, it won't work. It will not let you do it unless it's the right one. So that's another one. We mentioned the right flower. There's one called Rub On Relief and another one called Heal and Soothe. They're more herbal-based creams. And I haven't tried those, so I don't know how well they work, but it's another source for somebody if they need them. What else you got here? Oh, causes. Magnesium deficiency can be a cause. Hormonal output out of balance. You know, if your hormones out of balance, male or female, doesn't matter. Peppermint and spearmint oil both are good for headaches as well.
Peppermint and what?
Spearmint and peppermint.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've been used for thousands of years, and they smell good for most people. There's a new one on the market fairly recently, been doing a lot of testing on oxygen therapy. And it can do a lot of things for pain in the body, especially chronic stuff, arthritis and things like that. It can actually help rebuild cartilage and that kind of thing. So if it's a body thing that's causing the headaches and you get rid of the reason that it's causing it, you're home free. Makes a whole lot of sense. Polarity is one that I use a lot for getting rid of headaches because it's very simple. You don't actually have to even touch anybody, but in the body's electrical system, the left palm is negative, the back of the left hand is positive, the right palm is positive, and the back of the right hand is negative. So negative energy tends to soothe and calm down, and positive energy tends to strengthen. So if you use your left hand in front of the forehead and the right hand in back, like this, and feel once you learn what the energy feels like, that can balance the body's energy system again fairly rapidly. Could take 10, 15 seconds, maybe a minute, depending on the headache, including migraines. That is probably the quickest one, other than not getting one at all. But it works because some people get scared because you're not touching them, but something's happening and they know it. So basically you ask somebody to close their eyes while you're doing that. It makes it easier for them to live with it. Because a lot of people think they need to get bounced around or yanked one way or another or something before they have anything effective happen. That's not always true. In fact, it's very seldom true. You can be gentle and still be incredibly effective. And that's one that parents can teach their kids how to do this. So if the kids are giving the parents a headache, they can help take it away. They know. And they don't have to be cranky. The parents can get on with it. But the kids are not as closed to something like that. And it's actually be a good self-esteem builder as well, because then they can do something for mommy or daddy or whatever that they couldn't do before. So it's an interesting way of dealing with kids. Okay, other things that can cause headaches, and these are fairly new modern ones. The radio frequency from cell phones, from cell towers, which are stronger than a cell phone but farther away from you usually. The Wi-Fi antennas in everything from phones to tablets to games to whatever. A lot of these frequencies people's body do not like. But again, you can use kinesiology and test it. Is this okay or not? And if it's not, keep it to a minimum. Another one that's very new on the market is the PG&E smart meters. They took away the old meters in the house. They have an electronic digital one that tracks everything in your house that you do with PG&E. And the output from those very often is not compatible with people. So that's not one you can always do something about easily, but they can be shielded so that they don't radiate through your house. So if you find out that that's the problem, then shield the stupid thing and let them deal with it later. Eye strain, computers, definitely. People will sit in one place, like we were saying earlier, with the 8 or 10 pounds of weight on a fulcrum point on the spine about the size of your finger.
For 8 hours.
Yeah, which is why all these muscles are so strong. They have to keep your head stable, and be able to do all the things you need to do with it. But when you sit in one place and your muscles are tense like that, most people don't move much, so it's constant strain, not only on the eyes but on the neck muscles as well. A couple things you can do there is if you put a monitor up higher so that your head is actually balanced on that point, you can work for a long time. High back chair, just lean back a little bit. It's much more restful. You know, they talk about doing monitors at eye level and being ergonomic and all this stuff. Well, that doesn't always do it, because you still have, if you have any downward motion at all in your head and all that weight is off balance from that little fulcrum point, those muscles kick in to keep it from doing this. You know, if you do that, you can't do your work very well. So try with a monitor up higher. You know, it can't hurt. You can always try and see if it works. The people I've worked with so far that have done it really like the idea. I had one executive at a major company in Foster City said, I could do this all day long, you know, because it was such a vast difference. And he felt the change immediately, not in a couple of days or a couple of hours or a couple of weeks. It was immediate for him. The other thing is the liver metabolism can also be a cause of headaches. So again, things that are physiological, again, the kinesiology can tell you whether that's what it is or not. They can be environmental, which is all the things we just discussed. It can be emotional. You know, someone's having a problem with something and they just stress out because of that. Stress is the #1 cause. What's the other one? Drug-induced. You know, if it's drug-induced, again, you can check your body to find out whether it's a good medication to have or not. You know, or whether the side effects. A lot of drugs on the market, side effects, #1 is headaches.
Headaches, yeah.
Yeah. And people just live with it because they're so geared to taking pills, regardless of the consequences. But if they have to have that in that way, then there's really not a whole lot I can do with them. You know, so try your best with it and see what works.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I like about the kinesiology the most is that because the subconscious mind runs the body, it knows exactly what's going on. You know, conscious mind may think it's something else, but the subconscious knows. That's why it can do all the things your body does without you having to think about it. So if you're asking the subconscious what's going on, kinesiology is basically working with stress muscles.
Okay.
You know, and if there's stress in a muscle, it will react to a question to the subconscious. You know, and usually it's a right or wrong, yes or no kind of question that you'd ask. But you have to be very succinct when you ask questions like that, because the subconscious has no sense of humor. But it does have a lot of information going for it that comes in handy when you need to know what to do. You know, it's amazing how comprehensive that can be. As long as you keep the conscious mind busy doing something else. You know, tell it to go watch a movie or something while you ask questions.